Very hot. Hello beautiful souls, I'm Alice, welcome to my channel. So we're going to talk about dreadlocks. We're going to talk about dreadlocks today. Dreadlocks. I'll start again. I've had my locks for about 2 years now, and when I got my locks I knew nothing really about them. I just had wanted locks for a while, and I didn't know anyone who had any dreadlocks, and I just did like a whole bunch of research on YouTube, and there's surprisingly not much information out there. So I've been thinking about this for a while, for like the last 6 months. I thought, you know what, maybe I should just make a video, because since having locks I've learned so much. There's been so much trial and error. We're going to talk about things that people don't tell you about dreadlocks, right? So if you're thinking about getting dreads and you don't know anyone who has locks and you're struggling to find information, then this is the video for you. Here it is, in a neat tidy package. I'm going to be completely candid with you and tell you exactly how it is. So as I said, I've had my locks for about 2 years now, and these are my natural locks. This is my natural hair. I don't have extensions in. Obviously, I still have my fringe or bangs, or whatever you want to call them. Initially, I went to a loctician. A loctician is a dreadlock hairdresser, basically. I found a loctician on Facebook, and she put my hair into dreadlocks in the first place. Having dreadlocks is kind of a journey and an experience in itself. And by going to somebody else to have it done for me, I kind of robbed myself of that experience. And I now understand that through my 2 years experience of living with locks. So entirely up to you if you want to go to a loctician or you want to have a crack at it yourself. I will be making a video about how to do it yourself at some point in the future. But for now, we're going to be talking about things that people don't tell you about dreadlocks. So all of this stuff, I figured this out for myself. No one told me, so I'm making a point of telling you. So let's just dive right in. So the biggest misconception about dreads that I encountered long before I had locks of my own is that you shouldn't wash them, right? It's completely untrue. You should wash your dreadlocks. You should wash them. I think the reason people don't wash them or feel that they can't wash them is because they take forever to dry. They're not difficult to wash. But it does take longer to wash them. You have to wash them differently to how you do with your hair when it's not locked. You will be washing your hair less frequently, for sure. Perhaps when you don't have dreads, you wash your hair once a day or once every other day. With dreads, you'll probably be washing them once or twice a month. I wash mine twice a month because I like to smell nice, and I want my head to be clean. And as much as there's natural oils in your hair that keeps your hair clean just by itself, it still just doesn't smell very good. And your scalp sweats, and you don't want to live with that on top of your head. So you can wash your dreadlocks, and you should be washing your dreadlocks. I'll start that again because I burped in the middle of it. Whoops. You can dye your dreadlocks. As you can see, I have dyed my dreadlocks. I've bleached them. I'll start from the beginning. When I first had my hair dreaded, it was pink. It was like bright pink. I'll put a picture up. Okay, my hair was pink. And then I went dark brown, dark brown. And now I'm purple. I dyed it myself. The only thing to watch out for if you decide to dye your own locks is if you're using bleach, you really need to work it in there, and you can't leave it on as long, because you've worked it right into the lock. You need to make sure that you're washing it out properly. I found that out the hard way, and I trashed my dreads. They've since recovered pretty much, but just something to bear in mind if you're using bleach. in particular, but other hair dyes, you know, it's totally fine. It's still your hair, right? It's just in a different form. So you're good to dye your locks. You need to be patient. You need to be patient with new locks. They take time to mature, they take time to lock up, and when you first get your locks, for the first 2 years, they're going to look messy as hell. For a while, I was really upset with my dreads because I felt like my loctician had let me down. I felt like I didn't know how to maintain them myself. So they will look messy. They are going to look messy for a while. They take time to mature. Your hair needs to get used to being locked up and not being brushed out. You know, your hair is, up until you get locks, is used to being brushed out and not being basically a hot mess. And as dreads, its job is to be a hot mess, right? Don't fret though. You can make them look neat. It just means that they need more attention for the first couple of years. So they require maintenance. Again, something else that people don't tell you before you get dreadlocks is they require maintenance. Just in the same way that your hair before it gets locked up requires maintenance, right? It requires being washed and being brushed or straightened or styled or whatever it is that you do with your hair, right? So it's not the same kind of maintenance, but it still requires maintenance. It's dead easy. All it takes is a crochet hook, which I have somewhere. Okay, all you need is a crochet hook, right? That's literally all you need. And an afternoon. That's it. Dreadlocks are itchy. I'm just, you know, this is all about honesty, right? And I really wish that people told me, people who I don't know, but just people with dreads, I wish that they would have told me that dreadlocks are itchy. I'm constantly, you know, and especially first thing in the morning when you've been led on them and they're all kind of crumpled up, they get really itchy. They get itchy when I work out because the sweat just gets all locked in there. They get itchy because the hair, instead of coming out of your scalp just all beautifully nice and straight, it's coming out of it's coming out of your scalp in like every direction it can possibly think of. So of course it's gonna get itchy, right? It's itchy now just talking about it. Another reason your dreadlocks are itchy is because you don't wash your hair every day. It's not because it's dirty, it's because the natural oils in your hair is taking over from the last time you shampooed your hair. So you shampoo it and the shampoo does its thing and then it wears off and your natural oils take over. And when your hair starts to produce those natural oils, it makes your scalp itchy. Locked people, they talk about the first itch. So after maybe 2 weeks of washing your hair will get like crazy itchy. You will just like be constantly, you know, just like crazy itchy. And then after a couple of days it just goes away and it settles down. That's when your natural oils are kicking back in. Then a few weeks after that you get the second itch. That's like the dirt itch, right? When you get the second itch, that means your hair needs washing. That's when your hair is actually dirty and that's why it's getting itchy. Always wash your hair on the second itch, not the first itch. And that's about 4 weeks. That takes about 4 weeks to get the second itch. There you go. There's something that you can't unhear. You're welcome. You can... You can add extensions to your dreadlocks. Again, something else that people don't really tell you. There are various different types, different materials. I will just cover the basics now and I will be making a video in the future as to what the pros and cons of the different types of extensions are, how to make those different types of extensions, all that good stuff. So there's like 3 main types, I would say, of extension. There's synthetic dreadlocks and there's wool dreadlocks and then there's human hair dreadlocks. So human hair, pretty self-explanatory. Synthetic dreads are like, they're essentially plastics, like plastic hair. So it's that synthetic hair that most wigs are made out of. Like if you go to your local costume shop, all the wigs in there will likely be made out of synthetic hair. So you can make extensions pretty easily out of those. They're dead easy to make. Again, I'll be doing a tutorial on that at some point in the future. Or there's wool dreadlocks. So these dreads, all of these dreads, you just basically tie them to the top of your dread. That's it. I have had synthetic dreads and wool dreads, and I've made them myself, and you know, I'm just me, my au naturel locks right now, because I prefer it. I still use extensions every now and then, but not as often as I did, you know, over like the first 18 months of having my locks. Personally, I just prefer to go without. I feel a lot freer. But you know, they look really nice. They look really good. So you can add extensions. So if you're worried that your hair maybe is only quite short, and then of course when you get your hair locked, it will get shorter. It will, only by a couple of inches, but it still will get shorter. You can add extensions whilst you sort of let the length come back out again. Dreadlocks aren't very soft to the touch. This is something that kind of surprised me. Now that my dreads have matured, they're not very soft, you know, like you can hear them, right? The ASMR dreadlocks right there. Dreadlocks are really easy to style. There are so many things you can do with dreads that you don't really need a hairband for. Like right now, I've just got it up in a ponytail with a hairband, but there's so many different things that you can do to style your dreads. So a really cool thing that you can do with your dreads, again, just putting this out there, is you can just literally grab a couple of your dreads from the front and the side, and you can just tie them. You can just tie them in a knot. Right? You can just tie them. You don't need a hairband. It's incredible. You can just tie them out the way. That's it. Now it's out of the way. So on that note, the last thing that I could think of, right, that people don't tell you, is that more often than not, you end up dipping your dreads into your drink or your food. It is more or less essential to tie your dreads back before you eat food. Just putting it out there. Something to do with just them being in locks. You just, you know, you lean, just like, oh, I'm always dipping my locks in my tea. So just, again, take that as you will. So there you go. There is a bunch of stuff that people don't tell you about dreadlocks. Please don't let any of this stuff put you off if you've been thinking about having dreads for some time. Don't let any of this stuff put you off. Just take it as good information, right? I despite that, you know, there's pros and cons, right, of having dreads. There's pros and cons of not having dreadlocks. And despite those pros and cons, I do not regret my dreads at all. I absolutely love my dreadlocks. I love maintaining them. I love styling them. I love the fact that you can just get out of bed and that's it. Right? I love that. I love that I don't spend half an hour on my hair every morning. You know, I used to wear my hair in victory rolls, and I'll put a picture. Camera's backwards. I'll put a picture here of my victory rolls so you can see. That shit used to take me about an hour and a half to 2 hours every day, and as much as it looked cool, I don't miss it. I don't miss it at all. I love that I can just get out of bed and there's my dreads. I love that I can spend an entire afternoon on my dreads, or like a whole weekend on my dreads once a month to maintain them. I love that my head is like a garden. I feel that when I nurture it, it grows into something beautiful. It's my dreads, you know, it's a journey. It's been a journey and it will continue to be a journey for me. And there's something very deeply spiritual about dreadlocks. Just the way that you have to take care of them, and or the way that you can take care of them. You know, I mean, you don't have to, but I recommend it. And I think they look nice, and they're pretty versatile. There's so many different things that you can do with them. So I hope that this information today hasn't put any of you off getting dreads. If you're thinking about going for it, then go for it. You know, if you don't like it, you can just brush them out. It's a pain in the ass, but you can brush them out. So take care of yourselves, have a wonderful rest of your day. Remember that you are worthy and you are loved, and you will look badass with dreadlocks. See you guys in the next one.